Why is nihilism a thing, and why is it good for you? Why is nihilism a good thing for you? For people who, I always say this, for people who just stumbled upon this video, not knowing what nihilism is, I'm assuming you do. This is kind of like a little bit of a obscure topic, so I'm sure that you know what it is. But for those who don't, nihilism is a way of thinking where you look at the world and distance yourself from purpose, right? As a nihilist, you do not believe there is a purpose to anything. There is no value to anything. There is no value or sentimental value to any personal items. There's no real reason why we're here. There's no grand destiny to mankind or to the universe. It's simply a coincidence. It's simply just here because it is. There's no grand meaning or purpose. That's what nihilism is, right? That's what a nihilist is. There's no value. The distinction I would like to make, though, is because people, when you tell them about nihilism, they look at it in a negative way. Nihilism is always looked on in a negative way. It is not a pessimistic or depressive way of thinking. Someone who is a nihilist can still enjoy life because nihilism isn't the negation of personal responsibility or other worldly responsibility, right? Or other people's worlds. There's no negation of responsibility. So a nihilist can still have a job, can still raise a family, can still be happy and love life and love the universe. However, they realize at the end of the day, there's really no ultimate value. There isn't. There's no ultimate value, no grand meaning. And a lot of people would look at this and think, well, isn't that kind of sad? That's sad. You think there's no meaning behind it? Well, we're talking about an ultimate meaning here. A nihilist can still look at their child and say, well, this child means something to me in a form of love. But I realize that by the end of our lives, it doesn't matter. We are just another few people existing in a massive world, and we're going to be gone as quickly as we came, right? And there's no meaning. Need. And I'll get on to why it is a good way to think for some. It is a good way to think for some, but right after this point, when you need something, it's different. Because nihilists believe there's no value to something. There's no necessary value. But there's a lot of things in life that we have, that we enjoy. Just like a nihilist can enjoy life and still believe that there's no meaning to it. It's the lack of belief in meaning, right? And there's some people who just eat fast food. You don't need fast food. You realize there's no value, nutritional value to fast food. However, you still enjoy it. As a nihilist can enjoy life and say, wow, this is really beautiful. This whole landscape is beautiful. The trees are beautiful. I love life. I love breathing. And that nihilist will turn around and say just after he said that or she said that and go, there's no meaning behind it. Now this may seem negative and depressive and whatever you want to call it, but we're always raised that there needs to be meaning behind something. There needs to be value. Here's why nihilism can be good for you. That it can help your brain. That it can help you come to a state of peace. And I usually bring this up to people who are experiencing anxiety or depression or some sort of deteriorating view of the world. Nihilism can be positive. And here's why. In philosophies, there's a way of thinking which is the giving up of a ultimate centrality, an ultimate view of subjection. Or is it objection? Right. No. It's giving up of objection, right? Stop objectifying yourself and become subjective, and also give up on ego. And nihilism will teach you to relinquish the ego. And relinquishing the ego helps with anxiety and depression. And I talked about this in the anxiety, hypochondria video, all these other videos, because all these things end up linking to each other. You'll notice that they all start to link. All these philosophies, all these ideas, they all link eventually to one central idea. But this isn't the central idea, this is just another linkage, if you will. Nihilism, I looked really smug when I said this. The ego is the problem. And nihilism teaches you that you yourself have no ultimate destiny, have no ultimate meaning. Your life is literally meaningless. While life is great and it would suck to die, perhaps, it's still meaningless. And that giving up of your own purpose, not that it's not, you still have a purpose to raise your children, whatever. That's what you're doing with your existence, and that's what you choose to do based off your instincts. But the ultimate value is gone when you embrace nihilism, that ultimate value. And then therefore you will give up the ego and also give up fears. And this is why it's good for you. It's healing. Because across all boards, there's so many different religions that teach this giving up of ego. They never specifically mention nihilism, but the giving up of ego. A lot of philosophers talk about it. To understand that your qualia, that your centrality is just as any other, that it has the same value as any other, your consciousness, and that ultimately it will fade, just like everyone else. Whatever happens to you, it's fine. And guess what? It was fun, but it was purposeless. And because it is purposeless, I can die knowing that what I did was okay. The amount that I subjected myself to of production, of stability, of creation, whatever it may be, whatever you think is a successful life to you. And if you think that you didn't create enough success, well, it is okay. It is to be okay with what is with you. It is because looking at things and thinking that they have so much meaning, we always ask, it's one of the most elementary questions to a lot of philosophers is, what is the meaning to life? What you see is the meaning of life is to just exist. And that's where it comes full circle to nihilism. A nihilist will say, well, I'm here because I like to exist. I like it. Do I think there's a grand meaning? What is the meaning to life? No, I don't believe in that. I believe that life, we are here to enjoy it, sure. We sprang out of the universe, out of Earth, and now we're just enjoying it. We're like, holy shit, crazy. We just came here, great. Ultimate meaning, no. And then that way, when you're experiencing anxiety, any sort of debilitating thoughts about the future, whatever it may be, you can look back to nihilism and go, wow. There really is no meaning behind it. And I shouldn't worry myself too much, because this universe is so expansive, because everything is so expansive, and I am obscure. And because I am obscure, because the universe could be obscure to something else much bigger, who knows, we haven't seen that far, and that we know too little about what happens afterwards, I have given up the pursuit of finding any meaning. And I do not need to have a meaning. And because of that, I can be at peace. In mind, and in body, and in spirit. And it's not negative in any sort of way. And it's going to be hard for you to listen to these words, purposelessness. We think that's a bad word. It's not really. Think about it.